Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on your time zone. Welcome to the Doctor's Clinic. Your host, Daniel D.W. Whited. D.W., take it away.
Hey, everybody. What an awesome Super Tuesday we're having, and you're in for a real treat tonight. Dr. Kirk Visnick's got some things he's going to throw at you, and, you know, we're just dealing with so many things out here as we move forward, and it's a pleasure to take on anything that you want us to take on and help you with and kind of get a grip on and just bring more understanding. We're all in the process of learning. Nobody knows everything, but there is one guy that knows a lot, and that's Dr. Kurt Visnick. Dr. Kurt, welcome to the call this evening. This is the Doctor's Clinic, and the clinic is open. Welcome to the call, Dr. Kurt. Can you hear me?
Hey, I can hear you loud and clear. How are you doing, DW?
I'm doing awesome. I'm in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and was in Boston all weekend. We're getting a bit of a snowstorm right now, and I'm heading back to Marianne and Binyals from some meetings that we've been doing all day long, and it's just absolutely a joy to be on this call with you. So what do you want to, how do you want to open this up and explain? You kind of want to touch a little bit on last week and then jump right into this week.
You bet. Well, I'll tell you what, you know, you're out there enjoying the weather in Boston and Lancaster. I'm sitting on a mountain. It was 3 degrees all day. I sat up there. I'm out elk hunting for the week, and just having fun. But it's 3 degrees out there, and a lot of people say, oh, man, they'd love to be where I'm at. And I say, really? You know, because most people don't have the right gear to sit out there. But as I sat up on the mountain and I'm watching for an elk to go by and kind of scouting around, you know, I got my phone and I'm going to the internet. I'm looking at different things. I'm trying to keep up with the research. And you know what's interesting? Last week, I talked a little bit about epigenetics, which really means that the body, the cells in the body, adapt to the environment that they're put in, versus, you know, Darwin's theory, where Darwin said, you know, it's all or nothing. It's recessive dominant. And if your body can't survive, well, then you just won't be around any longer. And they're really starting to turn, and they're saying that the whole epigenetic theory is probably you know, if nothing else, it's just as strong, if not stronger, that our bodies adapt. And so as we look at our diets and we look at different things in our environment, it's interesting. People have evolved to where they just don't get the nutrition out of their food that they used to. And even though scientists are saying right now that, you know, probably the first person to live to be 150 years old probably will get, if not born already, will probably be born in the next generation. And you just think about that. What would it be like, DW, to be 150 years old? Can you imagine?
You bet I can imagine. And, you know, you and I are headed to 120. Do you think we picked the wrong date?
There you go. I mean, and that's what Tom and I were talking about last night, is that, you know, we're in the right place at the right time. We're working with the right company. And that's what's so fun about doing this call for all of you that are listening tonight, and for everybody that listens to the recording. What's so fun is that we really are at the right place at the right time. And Tom's got not just himself and his son, but he's got a team of scientists that are constantly going through the research, just like I like to go through the research. And he and I sat up till 10 o'clock my time last night, just talking about different things that's going on, and how we can take and we can turn back the time clock, the clock of time on your body with different things. And we were talking a little bit about resveratrol and how, you know, the studies on resveratrol just in the last decade or so have really come out, and they say that, you know, resveratrol is so good. They found that it helps with inflammation. It prevents the oxidation of bad cholesterol. It makes it difficult for platelets to stick together and form the clots that cause heart attacks. It limits the spread of cancer cells. We can't say cure or anything like that, but it can help with the spread of the cancer cells, and it can actually trigger something called apoptosis. You know, and DW, you've heard the word apoptosis, right? Are you there?
I sure have. You better believe it. I was talking away, but I muted myself out. Sorry about that, Doc.
No problem. You know, and so, you know, when we talk about apoptosis, though, a lot of people, they look at me and they go, oh, what's that mean? What's that mean? And it just really means it's the death of a cancer cell. And so if we can get those cancer cells so they won't spread, and we can get those cancer cells so they kill each other, you know, that's a good thing. And the other thing about resveratrol is they found that it protects the nerve cells from being damaged, and it can prevent that buildup of plaque in the brain that causes dementia and Alzheimer's. So all of those things, you know, are really, really important. And as we talk about healthy aging, as we talk about longevity, I mean, there's a lot of people who say, oh, man, you know, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to let, you know, let death come and get me whenever it comes and gets me. But the problem with that is that even if people aren't trying, chances are they're going to live longer than the generation before them. The difference is that for those of us like DW and all of you out in Lancaster, I know who are listening to the call, and everybody else that's listening to the call, the difference between the people who aren't doing nutrition and Sisel type products and the people like ourselves that are, is that we're going to lower our risk of having the old age diseases, the diseases that most people worried about. You know, cancer has gotten so widespread. Back in the early 1900s, it was like 1 in 200 people had cancer, and now it's like 1 in 2 men and 1 out of 3 women have cancer, and they're saying by the year 2020 it's going to be 50% worse than what it is right now, and by 2050, which isn't all that long away either, it's still within my lifespan. They're saying that it's going to be 100% of people are going to have some form of cancer, and I'm just going, holy cow, we got to do something about it. We got to address that right now, and resveratrol is so important. You read about it with the French paradox. All of those people that live down in the area of the world down by France, they eat very rich foods with lots of cream and that. And they drink lots of red wine, and they just don't seem to have the disease that we do over here. And so that's where they really started looking at this resveratrol. But it's interesting, as Tom and I were talking last night, that, you know, in a lot of parts of the world, they actually don't let you use resveratrol from red wine or from grapeseed extract or from grape skin. You have to get it from somewhere else. And so there's other plants that have resveratrol, and so we can extract it from there as well. And the resveratrol is the same as what you get out of the red wine. And it's so interesting. And, you know, most people as they get older, type 2 diabetes starts to be a problem. And they found that resveratrol helps to prevent insulin resistance. And what that is simply, we've talked about it on call before, but think of it like this, that you eat so much food that's got processed sugars and processed carbs in it that your pancreas produces tons and tons of insulin, and your cells just quit listening. And it's kind of like when my kids were younger, and if I would have gone into the basement and I said, hey, shut that TV off, it's time to go to bed, and then gone back upstairs and come back down a half hour later and said the same thing and gone back upstairs and gone back downstairs. And if I never enforced the law and said, you know, you guys are going to bed right now, pretty soon they would have just kind of, yeah, Dad, whatever. And see, that's what insulin resistance really is, and that's really the condition where the body becomes less sensitive to the sugar lowering hormone, which is called insulin. And so if we have resveratrol in our body, we can actually get that, so it'll help that. But the thing that I really want to talk about resveratrol is that not only does it have these health protecting effects, but it helps with the sirtuin gene, which is a gene in the body that is called the gene of youthfulness, and what it really does, it protects the body against the harmful diseases of aging, and it kind of, in a way, it slows the aging process down, and your body has plenty of this gene, but this gene shuts off at about the age of 25, and so you start feeling the effects of aging. So Eternity, which is the Sisel product that's got the highest levels of resveratrol, it's actually in the dosage that the research says that we need to turn on this gene of youthfulness. And so I really like that when I'm talking about longevity. I really have to bring up the product of that we talk about, which is Eternity, because of that. And we have to talk about how it helps to slow this down and slow the whole aging process down. So if you can get to somebody when they're in their mid to early 20s, maybe before they just try and get to them before they turn 30, you just think about what you could do, how you could slow this aging process down, so that they really when they get to be my age, when they get to be into their 50s, maybe they'll still look and feel like they're in their 20s. And wouldn't that be just a great thing that we could teach young people and get them so they understand the benefits of that? But the other thing that I thought was interesting, it was probably about a month and a half ago, I read a study that said that they found resveratrol will reverse the effects of dementia and Alzheimer's. And I thought, well, that's interesting, because more people today, because of the high rates of cancer, more people are worried about Alzheimer's and dementia than they are worried about cancer, because they just assume that, well, the researchers say we're going to get cancer, we can't do anything about it, and it's just it's all genetics. They're looking at the Darwin theory versus the epigenetic theory, and we start looking at now all of a sudden Alzheimer's, dementia is probably the most worrisome disease of aging that people have. And so what kind of dosage of resveratrol do you actually need to see some of these effects, the reversing? And the study said that they could see the changes happening, the reverse changes happening after drinking or after in taking in the equivalent resveratrol as drinking 1,000 bottles of red wine. And I thought, holy cow, you're going to have some other problems if you drink 1,000 bottles of red wine. So I started kind of asking Tom, what dosage do we have in our Eternity? And he told me, he said, well, it's kind of interesting that there's actually the equivalent of over 1,000 bottles of red wine in that bottle of Eternity that we have. So that's really what I want to talk about resveratrol tonight, DW. I mean, and I know the product line inside and out. Kind of throw your ideas about the Eternity and about resveratrol out there, based on what you know of our products.
Well, resveratrol is a product that we get tremendous results with right out here in the field, and helping people with all kinds of challenges. But one of the things about what Tom's put together when it comes to our resveratrol that I find fascinating is its delivery system. And you can have, the best product on the planet, but if you can't get it to a cellular level or get it to where you want, where you want an area to be stimulated or help, or or even the words I would use would be supported, you're in trouble. But resveratrol is quite uniquely made. I mean, when you talk about the grapeseed and extracting, the live nutrients out of any kind of fruit or vegetable, which Tom's process he's mastered tremendously. One of the things that happens with ours is this. The only thing that can compromise what is in resveratrol and compromise, or whether it's even you're dealing with just a straight up grape, is when things are exposed to light and or exposed to oxygen. Like if you cut an apple in half and you just leave it sitting on the counter, it's going to absolutely decay quickly because of the light and the oxygen. And so same thing with grapes and so forth. Well, Tom has a process when he puts this together. He has a process of putting the resveratrol together. It's built in the dark, so it's not exposed to light, so that's not going to deteriorate the product at all or the ingredients. And then he also, has a situation to where he puts some hydrogen into the bottle, pushing out all the oxygen. So when it's delivered to you, it's delivered to you in its purest form that he could possibly get it to you. And then it has nanotechnology, and nanotechnology is the delivery system of how it gets into your body. If you've ever heard of someone who's had a heart attack and they're going through some kind of heart failure and having a heart attack at that moment, their heart's failing and it's under attack, they will put a little white pill, a nitro pill, underneath the tongue, and that will dissolve in about 7 to 10 seconds. It'll hit the heart and stop the muscle which is contracted. In other words, cramp, like maybe your calf is cramped, and it'll stop that from happening. Well, this has the same technology, and what I refer to, and Tom does well, nanotechnology. You put this under your tongue, and your absorption rate of the product has increased massively. And when you take a quarter of an ounce or 3/4 of an ounce and you set that under your tongue and let it dissolve, it'll drip down and begin to release into the heart muscle, immediately pushing through the bloodstream. And I find that, Doc, quite effective. Another thing, if you took the ingredients that Tom has in this product and you tried to go out and put this together yourself and buy some of it, that product's going to be about a $250 to $280 product for you, and you won't have the potency nor the purity of the ingredients as what Tom has. And we're talking about this thing comes in around, $55, $60, something like that. Depends on retail or what you're doing. But I find it for the results you get. Now, some people say, Daniel, how do you know it really has the impact? Well, my dad's one of these guys that you don't just mess around with, and he'll tell you straight up what works, what doesn't work, and what's going on. And it's a product that he will not. There is no compromising to him at all. He will not go without this product. He has this each and every month on his auto purchase shipped out to him. And quite ironically, Doc, he does the brain vitality as well, which is another thing. Your brain's alive and you got brain health, yet that's going to give you longevity of life. And so you mix that with the 360, you're talking about 3 products there that they can bring nutrition to the brain at another level. So the resveratrol bringing nutrition to the heart. It's heart nutrition. I mean, don't dink around with your heart. I mean, you don't got like 12 of them. You get like one heart. So take care of it. Don't be trashing it. And if you have, use the resveratrol to help get the trash out of the heart, help detox it, help get things out of it. So those are some quick things, Doc, that I just wanted to mention concerning our product and the delivery system on a cellular level. You can't get anything better than if it's dripping and being saturated and solidified and going straight to the heart. I mean, are you kidding me? That's getting in there quicker than what you can get an IV in there. And so whether you use a muscular absorption or you put a straight IV in. So our way of getting it in, and I tell people the sicker you are, the more challenges that you have, the longer you leave it in your tongue. There's people that are really going through some challenges. They're leaving it under their tongue for 2 or 3 minutes, and it just increases the absorbability of it. So back at you, Doc. What a great call we're doing. This is a blast.
I have a lot of fun with this call, DW. I tell people this is probably the most fun call that I get to do every week. And as you're talking about that, that's exactly what we do. When my girlfriend and I are using the Eternity, we take that, we put it in the mouth, and we swish it around, and then let it lay under the tongue and let it absorb into the system. And you just do get that much better absorbency. But, you brought up the next product that I really wanted to hit on. As we look at the aging and the healthy aging, a lot of the diseases that we suffer from are caused by inflammation. Even Alzheimer's begins as inflammation of the brain, and so they found that in populations that consume lots of an ingredient called curcumin or turmeric, it gives kind of that yellow color to Indian curry type foods. It's also used in mustard. And what they found is that people that consume lots of the turmeric, the curcumin, what they find is that they have lower rates of brain diseases. They have lower rates of osteoarthritis. And it's interesting that the next product you brought up was Brain Vitality, because it really does have that ingredient, and it works, in a lot of studies that are out there. I like to read studies, and they say that turmeric extract works as good as a lot of the nonsteroidal anti-inflammatory drugs that are on the market. That came out of the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine in August of 2009. So it's not just some wacky company throwing this research out there. These are real studies that are being done, and they're finding that it lowers the inflammation in the digestive system. And if you can keep your digestive system from being inflamed, you can keep the rest of the body pretty healthy, because 70% of your immune system is found right in the gut lining, and that's where a lot of these autoimmune diseases start out. And as we look at a lot of diseases that people are coming up with nowadays, I've been a chiropractor for almost 30 years, and I'll tell you, 30 years ago when I got into it, we didn't see near the autoimmune type diseases that we do today. So we know that there's something going on in the digestive tract. There's something that's happening in the digestive system. So really what I'd like to do, I know it's a little bit early, but I'd like to end it there, because then next week, let's bring up on the Doctor's Clinic call, let's talk a little bit about the digestive system and how it relates to inflammation and how it relates to the immune system. And I know Mary wanted to talk a little bit next week, maybe about, kind of about the whole viral replication and how we can slow the process of viral replication down. And I thought that would be a great place to start next week's call.
Well, that's perfect. I mean, that's absolutely awesome. I mean, jumping into, what a lot of times, you guys refer to as gut health, and it's the digestive tract, and a couple of products you may want to kind of glance at so you're prepared for what Doc's going to jump into is, be glancing at your super detox, be glancing at your Balance D and what's going on there, and be glancing at the Omega Plus, which goes along with what we're talking about tonight. So when you're wanting to get longevity of life, you're wanting to get oxygen to the brain. You're wanting to get brain nutrition going, heart nutrition going, cardiovascular and circulation. And so some of the products that you obviously want to jump on is going to be the Brain Vitality, going to be the Omega Plus and the Encompass 360, and definitely the resveratrol. It is a game changer. I mean, there's so many studies, research, independent, non-sizzle, non-whatever studies done on that particular product, and it's become a champion, and it's lasting the test of time, and the results are huge. probably one of the biggest mistakes you can make is not to jump on that product and get going with it right away. Well, that's it for the Doctor's Clinic. We appreciate everybody being on here tonight, and you just enjoy what's left of your evening. And Happy New Year to you. This is one exciting year. It's still year Sweet 16, and sweet things are happening everywhere. And from all of our buddies here in the Doctor's Clinic, we throw our love to you, and thanks for being part of the call. Doc, you did fantastic, and Rob, we appreciate your help, and it's just amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be talking to you same time, same place next week. Be ready to be clinicked. Talk to you then.